Hey, good morning. I'm Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Walteri. We're here at the Mosley Motel on 34th Street in St. Petersburg. I think most people are familiar with the background here. The property's been in foreclosure for a number of years. The court issued an order last week with a final order of eviction for all the residents. At one point, there were over 400 people living here, including families with very, very young children, infants, a lot of pets, etc. Through a collaborative effort with the City of St. Petersburg, Pinellas County, and other social service providers, we've had great success in getting the majority of the people moved out and into other facilities. We worked very hard, especially since Wednesday of last week, knowing that the deadline was here. The original deadline would have been probably Friday morning. We extended that to give the weekend to get more and more people placed. This is a balance between respecting property rights and the owner's interest in the property, which they certainly have, and also making sure that we accomplish this in a dignified and humane and compassionate way for these people that don't have any other place to live. The conditions here are not good. In fact, the conditions here are pretty horrible, and it's probably best that these people do move on and they get into better suited housing, especially for the young kids. So we've had great success over the weekend. As of the end of last week, we still had about 100 people here, again, including families with young children and pets. Right now, the best count we have probably 2 or 3 rooms that are still occupied, and sheriff's deputies are getting ready to go door to door and make sure that all the rooms that are not boarded up are in fact vacant. And anybody that is here will escort them off the property and get them to a place where they can stay. This morning we had vans here. We did provide transportation to some, including to Pinellas Safe Harbor, some families to St. Vincent de Paul, and other places. So we're going to continue with our efforts and make sure we do this in a humane and a compassionate way, but we have to respect the property owners' rights and their interests in the court order, and that's what we're effecting here this morning. So I'm happy to take any questions anybody has.
Regarding the deplorable conditions that are here, how did it get to this point, and was there anything that any city or county agency could have done to make sure that people were living like this?
Well, I think you have to direct those questions to the City of St. Petersburg. This is in the city, and from what I understand, the city has been aware of this, and code enforcement has been aware of it. And I believe they have issued some violations. As far as the status of those violations, if you haven't, I believe you have, and the media's had an opportunity to be on the property. I know the owners don't want the media inside today and on the property, which again, you have to respect their wishes in that regard. But I've been through it, and I can tell you it's nasty. It is absolutely one of the worst situations I've ever seen. It's not something that people should be living in. So it is probably better that they do move on. But as far as what's been done and how it occurred in the past, you really need to direct these questions to the City of St. Petersburg.
Do you know if there are families who don't have a place to go? I know there's 3 kids and a family right here sitting under a tree. Do you know what the status is of everyone?
Yeah, actually, those people are waiting for a ride, and as soon as the ride comes, there was a very simple issue. There was a car that was locked out. In fact, they're waiting for AAA to unlock the car, and then they'll get a ride. So we're making sure, especially as it relates to families and people with young kids, this is the last thing in the world we want, and that's why we have done this and conducted it the way we have, is we don't want anybody on the street, especially families, especially kids. That's why Animal Services is here to make sure all the pets are cared for, etc. It's very important that we be done that way, and that we respect these people, and that they have we do this in a dignified way. And we've done everything possible to make sure and accomplish that. So it's a real credit to all of the social service providers, to the City of St. Petersburg and their homeless services, to Pinellas County and their homeless services, and everybody coming together to make sure this is done in the way that it needs to be done. Again, the backdrop though is that property rights are important also. So we have to, the company that owns it, the business that owns it, is respect their right to develop their property. So, but again, when you look at the property, it needed to change because this is not a place where people should be living.
Why are people still here? You said 3 rooms?
Yeah, but again, a lot of the people who are here would otherwise make up probably that chronic homeless population. And there's a whole, as of last night, then people were out here drinking, and that's what they do. So there's a whole variety of reasons, and some of them probably have some mental health issues, and they certainly have some substance abuse issues, etc. But that's part of that whole chronic homeless population. And we'll work with them and get them someplace. We don't want them on the street. And if they need a little bit of an extra nudge here this morning, there comes a point in time where you have to draw the line. And we have pushed that line as far as it can be pushed, and this morning it's the line. So they know, and we'll help them out this morning.
Do you know how many pets you've taken or that have people asking us about?
Well, I can tell you, that at one point last week there were hundreds here, dogs and cats and all kinds of pets. You know, I know that they were able to take a few out here in the last few days. The exact numbers, I don't know the exact numbers, but I can tell you that at one point there were as many pets here as there were people. So, but again, this has been an ongoing process now for a period of time to get people out, to transition them into housing, to transition them with their pets. And again, Pinellas County's been fantastic in animal services and making sure that the pets have a place to stay. Even if where the people are going, they don't take the pets, so that they then transition with their pets.
And you mentioned the conditions a little bit, but I mean, what was going through your head when you walked in for the first time? You saw kids, you saw pets, you saw people living in these sort of conditions. What were you thinking?
Well, it's disgusting and it's sad. You know, you can see behind me. You get a flavor of it. You know, what you see behind me is what the rest of the property is probably worse in some respects. Inside of these rooms, where you got, I don't know, a couple hundred square feet and 6 to 7 people living, especially with kids. So very sad. Was my first reaction to it, and really sad that kids are living in this environment. But it's the nature of what it is, and you know, this is not unique. This is a big problem. Homelessness is a big problem in this county, and in this state, and in the country. And there's a lot of people that are making great efforts, and accomplishments are being made. But there's a lot of work to be done. Because people shouldn't be living like this, especially young kids. You know, and then we wonder why some of these kids will grow up to become criminal justice involved and have the problems they do. It's because of where they're coming from and the environment they're growing up in.
Sheriff, is this a blessing in disguise in a way? These people will eventually get a new and perhaps a better start from what they had here?
Well, I certainly hope so, because this is nasty. You know, there's just no other way to describe it. You know, and I'll be blunt about it and tell you it's a dump. And people shouldn't be living in this. You know, I walked through there this morning and smell what I smell and see what I see. People shouldn't be living in that. It's disgusting. It's gross.
What did you see?
Should other hotels be warned that they may be facing closure eventually?
Well, no, because that's not what this is about. You know, this is because the property was in foreclosure. It was purchased by a property owner who then has rights to the property. And they wanted these people out so that they say they could tear it down, redevelop it, whatever they were going to do with it. So this isn't people being evicted because of the conditions. This is people being evicted because there's a property owner that's rights are being protected by the courts properly, and that we have an obligation to enforce the court's order to return this property to its now rightful owner.
Have they announced what they're going to do with this? You know, what will they build in its place?
I don't know. You know, they've stated publicly that they were going to tear it down, and beyond that, I don't know anything else.
Can you describe just a couple of things that stood out to you when you walked in here? What did you see?
Trash, lots of it, just squalid conditions, stench. You know, it's just very dirty, nasty.
Rodents, roaches.
Well, I didn't see those, but you know, it is a very, very poor condition, and you know, the rooms are just disgusting. All right, if nobody has any other questions, and we probably won't update any more unless something changes. What I envision it now is the deputies are going through. What we hope is that everybody is out. If we find those couple that are not, then we will help them get to where they need to be, and then turn the property over to the property owners. And I understand that they've already fenced it. They're going to keep it fenced, and it'll be in the private property owner's hands, and that will conclude our involvement and our obligation under the law to return the property to them.
Did you say 2 rooms or 3?
Well, we're still trying to, again, and I don't want to, because we don't know, is that we have a whole host of rooms that were, as of last week, we're still open. And we've made a lot of effort over the weekend to get people out of those rooms, but the property owners stopped boarding the rooms, so a lot of them aren't boarded. So we're going to go to all the rooms that are not boarded up and check each one and make sure that people are out. By our best estimate is that it's 2 or 3 that may still be occupied this morning. But until we go room to room and do those checks and clear each of those rooms, I can't tell you with certainty the exact number, but it's probably 2 or 3, and I certainly hope it's no more than that. But by the time we leave here today, it'll be 0, and nobody will be here, and they'll be in full possession of the property.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for